I've picked out two Vevor pullers for you to look at. A general and bearing puller and a hydraulic hub puller. We'll look at this one first. First question from me is always cost. So this is the general and bearing puller. UK $28.99, $40 US, 33 euros, just by currency conversion, including tax and delivery. What can I say about this? It's a box. Off you go. Manual, two clips, and this is the surprising bit. Look how much is in it. I imagine as you look at this it's all pretty self-evident, but I will go through it. So this is the main plate. It works as 3-leg or 2-leg. It's substantially thick. The main screw with a ball on the end goes into these spreader plates, which they call screw ejector gaskets. So that's probably an AI name for that. 3 legs with spring. Now the spring is retained because it's flared a bit at this end. So easy to come off, but stays on. This bearing came off the spindle on my Clarkson tool and cutter grinder. It's a Ransom & Marls MJ78. Now if you're in the UK, you might be quite nostalgic for Ransom & Marls. They call these puller heads. This is the smallest size. You can use the puller head to knock down the shield. Well, you take the shield off actually, but the spacer ring that keeps the balls apart, you can knock that down inside, slip that in, and then you can use it to pull the bearing off. Now, imagine what it's like with the largest size. You get 3 puller heads per size. That's size 6. Can you imagine what size of bearing that would go into? Well, I know the reason for those springs now. This has got 8 balls, so I can't put the puller heads in thirds. So one of those legs has got to be slightly on the wonk for this to work. So I'm going to knock down this separator using one of the puller heads. Push it in, twist it, off you go. The OD of this screw is 15.6, so it's a little bit under 16, and it makes it slightly wobbly, but I don't think it matters, it's not excessive. I've got 3 spare number 1 heads and 3 spare number 2 by the look of it, which is more than it says in the manual, and 6 nuts. Doesn't say anything about nuts in the manual, but I think 3 would be customary. Don't think we mind though, do we? Here's another reason for springs. When that's in there, you've got to be able to rotate this so that this puller head is in the right place. It comes with a spanner, but I always say throw those away anyway because they're like made of custard. And it's a 17. Oh, and that's a 17 as well. But this is a 16 nut. I shouldn't worry, you will replace that spanner, I'm sure. You need the 14 spanner to turn the leg, rotates the pulling head so it engages into the bearing groove, and also try to make sure that these 3 are equally spaced. Takes a bit of fiddling to get it in. Now I've put the spreader in there. You wouldn't use it that way obviously. You'd go on to the end of the shaft that the bearing sits on. But I just wanted to show that this does line up in the centre. This plate is about 9mm. Now if you were pulling a bearing like that, look, you would need to put something on there. I'm not quite sure what, but you'd never be able to hold that with your hand. Not a criticism, I mean you can only get so much into a box, can't you? But it's a thought. These pulling heads might benefit from having a couple of spanner flats on. You can see what I'm having to do to get them off. Just a small point. I mean, if you were that keen, you could put some on yourself, couldn't you? Those outside legs are quite substantial. The manual's only a couple of sheets, but it's still pretty useful. You can see the 6 sizes of puller head, 3 for each size, and then spares for a couple of sizes here. And also, this table gives us the size of adapter to use, puller head, for these bearing numbers. That's basically it for this puller, but one thought comes to mind. Look, if you were pulling bearings that required that, do you think that spreader plate would be big enough? I think it's very ambitious, but be happy. I think it's amazing for the price, 30 quid UK. Moving on to this beast. Oh, it's heavy. Price first. 59 UK, 81 US dollars, 68 euro, again just by currency conversion, including tax and delivery. Oh. Unboxing on camera is a risky business. Real elastic bands on there, look. Big. It really is a beast. You can see this does 2-leg or 3-leg. Real men don't look at instructions. Oh, you've caught me out. I might put some lock nuts on those. Nylock nuts, something like that. Ditto lock nut on here, probably for me. Although, the point is, these work both ways round, so maybe just the top ones and not these. It's going. Again, a bit difficult on camera. The manual tells me that the maximum hydraulic force of this is 15 tons. Now, I don't have a ship's propeller to pull off just at the moment, but you could use this on brake disc rotors, on brake drum hubs, or on the sort of large pulley that's on the shaper machine behind me. It took me ages to get that off with lots of different spacers and bars and plates and things, and this would have made very short work of it. But I do have a test I think I can do to check the hydraulic pressure. This is the setup for a basic hydraulic test. Now, this press is rated at 20 tons, but it's a long time since the old girl would do that, maybe 14 on a good day. But I'm not going to go to anything like that level because I might break something and it might be me. I don't want this springing off, dropping on the floor, or any of that. There'll be enough to show you that this operates upside down, and when I pump the handle you'll be able to see how much effort that takes, and you'll be able to see it climb on this dial. I think that'll be enough. So I'm lifting the handle in this case, and as I lift it, look, the pressure builds, it's upside down. I'm not going to go further than that. That's probably only about 3 tons. And as I operate this, you maybe get some idea of the force. It's taken a bit of force, but it's not excessive. I'm just being careful, I don't want the thing to spring off. And here's a thing to notice, look, I can unscrew that slightly, and this rotates to whatever angle I want. And you can see, 6 months later, that's a joke. The pressure's holding anyway. And as I turn that knob on the puller, as you'd expect, the pressure goes down. Look, there you are. Well, I don't know what you think, but I think they're both exceptional value for the price, particularly this one. But I don't mind telling you, it's making me a bit nervous. If you're interested, the discount links are in the description. Thanks for watching.